What's up, guys? Welcome back to AfroCast podcast, Afro Nation in Isolation. I'm your host, Leo, and I got my wonderful guest and a close friend, Charlie Brooks. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
So, how are you feeling? I'm guessing this is your first time being on a podcast.
Yeah.
How do you feel? How do you feel about
I feel
the whole thing?
good. I mean, it's a bit, I feel a little bit nervous maybe, first time behind the mic and that, but at the same, like you said, we're close friends, so it's kind of just a conversation between us, isn't it? So it's calm.
That's just what it is, man. I'm glad you feel a bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
You don't need to feel nervous. It's a normal thing, man. Being on TV is a mad kind of thing. Imagine one day you're not on TV, the next day you
Mum,
see
I'm
yourself
on TV.
Exactly, it's crazy. It's a crazy feeling because the first time you see it, you're bare nervous the first time, but imagine maybe the second, 10th time you're proper into it. You're eyeballing the flipping camera.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a crazy thing. But now, how about you introduce yourself to the viewers?
Yeah, so I'm Charlie Brooks. I'm a student at University of Reading. That's how I met Leo. So I'm second year. I'm 19 years old. I'm half Sri Lankan, half English. So that's kind of, has a big effect on me, culturally speaking. But at the same time, I like learning about other cultures as well, which is cool. Here to talk about food, which I love. I eat a lot of food, make a lot of food. Food is my life.
So would you call it, okay, so you did say it's your life, but you call it a hobby? You call it something you
do? I mean, obviously food is sustenance. You have to eat food to survive. You're not going to do very well if you don't. But at the same time, it's something that I really enjoy. I love making food for other people. I love, I'll be in the shower or something and I'll be watching some video of some Italian grandma making authentic pasta or something. I'm constantly exposing myself to it and learning about it and stuff. I just find it really interesting and I love it.
How did that start? How did you get so interested in food? Obviously everyone needs to eat food. You have to eat food to survive, or even if be it the littlest amount of food you have to eat to survive. But really it's become a part of you, whereas you want to learn and you want to move into that. How did that start? How did you get so interested in food?
I mean, so my mum is a massive cook. She loves cooking and she's an amazing cook. I feel everyone thinks that about their mum, don't they?
I mean, yeah, man.
But
if you said your mum can cook really well and my mum could cook the same thing, I'd be like, no, my mum can cook better.
Yeah. But so my mum's Sri Lankan, so the way she cooks was always different. I grew up in this country, and so it was always interesting to me because I'd see how my white friends, their mothers would cook and stuff, and this in the English culture, and it was always really interesting to me seeing how she was different. She'll cook English food, British food, Italian food, whatever, but she'll use spices, she'll use techniques, she'll use different ways of cooking and ideas of the way food should be and stuff like that. And so that to me kind of piqued my interest. And then she taught me to cook. She taught me how to do most of the things that I know. My dad taught me a little bit as well, but it was mainly my mum. But that was a launching pad. So I just ended up obsessing over it, and I would watch YouTube channels and YouTube videos all day long. I would look into things. I'd hear about something, I see something on a menu and I'd whip my phone out and start googling it, and I'd be what is this ingredient, I've never seen this before, and then I'll research all the different ways to use it and stuff, and a lot of the time I'll never cook it, there are loads of things that I really want to try that I just haven't gotten around to trying. I'll still go home and eat chicken nuggets or something, if I want to, if I'm hungover or something like that. But I find just the knowledge of it, just understanding it, thinking about it and stuff, it makes me happy, it makes me excited to do it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So it's now turned into more of an interest. It's aside from it being a hobby, you could call anything a hobby, but how well do you actually stick to that hobby? But with your interest, with your infatuation with food, you've gone to the point where you just want to know more about a particular spice just because you want to know.
Exactly.
Not because you want to cook it the next day or something. You just want to know what you're interested, you're curious about what's in that food, what goes about, literally the levels and the categories of that food. That's crazy. That is crazy.
I mean, how do you feel about food?
Food is something I eat. Food is something I enjoy. What else? What? Obviously, I can tell between healthy food and food that's not healthy. But the main problem is always raw. Food that's not healthy taste nice. But then sometimes some foods that are healthy taste really nice as well. That's why I'm gradually learning now. When I was younger, man, so I hear fried chicken. Like, everyone
you get
loves
excited,
fried chicken. As I'm getting older now, it's like someone told me they wanted to buy me fried chicken. I should be like, yeah, man, buy me some fried chicken, obviously.
Please.
But now, like, I've been meeting different people. Like, once I came into the country, I got to know about veganism a lot more. Obviously, like, Hamad's a raw vegan. Till now, like, I cannot sit down and give a proper definition by myself.
Because in Nigeria, you're Nigerian, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I've got a few like West African friends, and it's not common there, is it? Because there's a lot of meat, fish. You know, you have like your agusi and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
What can I say? I like food.
Yeah, no, really. I mean, being a vegan is not. How do I miss my? In all honesty, it's looked down on.
Yeah.
It's looked down on because lots of people see like, you're insulting the person that's making.
Yeah,
the
it's
food.
like, oh, you don't like my food.
Exactly.
You don't think I cook me
kind
right.
of like they have their reason for being a vegan, that kind of thing. But it goes into so many different levels of the whole thing. But would I want to try vegan food? Well, would I ever think of going vegan? I could.
Yeah.
I could. Would I go now? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's obviously a lovely experience. Obviously, like you're just there sitting and listening to what I'm saying. You jumping at the right time. Well, when's the right time? What until I say?
No, I mean, there's one thing I want to add is that people are not used to eating healthy, so the only stuff they tried healthy is like in the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
So when you try to be healthy or eat healthy, you try to make it as delicious as you can. Because with me, I'm a raw vegan, so it's not a diet for me, it's a lifestyle. So it's a long thing that I will live in most of my life with.
Okay.
So I have to make it delicious. I have to make it as good as I can.
Okay, so because it's your lifestyle, you have to make it the best way you can, like
and it's not hard. I mean, it's easy.
I mean, that's the thing about food, though, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people, they kind of correlate healthy eating with diet culture. You know, like they think to themselves, okay, I'm going to eat a salad because I want to lose weight. I'm going to eat this. It's kind of like a punishment. It's like no pain, no gain
like,
kind of
idea.
Like
a way to stop
when you're...
there's a huge misconception.
Exactly.
Healthy food is something you do to lose weight.
Yeah.
That's not what the definition of a healthy food.
Exactly.
Healthy food is something to nourish your body, to sustain a healthy...
Yeah. Vitamins, minerals, the lot. Make sure you have enough nutrition. And that's the thing as well, is that, you know, I think people... Because if you think, like, logically speaking, the way our food works now, like agriculture and the way, like, industrial food works, like processed foods, we've come away from what's natural. Because naturally humans are omnivorous, obviously, but we're not... Yeah. Okay. But...
I mean, continue.
Yeah. But meat has never really been like the staple food. Like our staple foods, that we're talking like grains, vegetables, things like that. And so nowadays, like in modern times, because meat is so easily accessible, it's so cheap, there's so much of it.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense that veganism is rising. Because people are learning more about the humanitarian issues of industrial farming. People are learning more about the problems of like healthiness and stuff. But also because it's too much, you know. And for me, I love meat, and I enjoy eating it and stuff, and I enjoy being a meat eater. But I completely understand why someone would go vegan. I completely understand that. I don't judge it or anything because, you know, it makes sense. Yeah, and for me, I try to make as many conscious decisions as I can, you know, as a university student, everything like that, because, you know, budgeting. But I always look for the ways to kind of reduce at least the impact, you know, because if you're buying meat or something, you have a choice between something that's organic and not organic, something that's cheaper, more expensive, something that's, or indeed something that's not meat. You know, you have like meat-free Monday and things like that. And it's just about making these constant decisions to kind of tweak your lifestyle for your benefit. and for the benefit of like everything else.
Yeah.
And that's the thing as well, like healthy food is beneficial. It's not just a punishment. It's not something that you do because you hate yourself or because you don't like yourself and you want to change yourself. You do it because you love yourself, because you want to give your body its nourishment that it needs. You don't want to be malnourished.
100%.
So
you said well, like being in university, so if I'm not gonna lie, yeah, being in university and managing the kind of food you want to eat sometimes can be quite hard.
Very hard, yeah, definitely.
Now you like obviously like you learned how to cook from a young age, got into uni. How did you kind of like balance that and like still be able to make proper meals, healthy meals, good meals, like lovely meals, and like balance it with school?
See, going into university, I was gassed because I had this idea that I'd go in and I'd do really well, and like, you know, people would be struggling and I'd be able to go to my flatmates and be like, hi, this is how you cook this, and like, you know, like help them out with it and kind of, you know, come in and not have those problems that you see university students having, because I could cook. But I think what a lot of people who go into university but aren't like who are new to university don't understand is that it's a massive lifestyle change. You know, like you're really busy, you don't have a lot of money at all, you don't have things, you're in a new environment, you know, it's stressful if you're not used to sharing a kitchen with other people, especially if they're like messy or something, then you don't, you know, it's difficult. So it was a massive culture change, you know, it was a culture shock, and it took a while to adjust into it. But I think what was key for me was thinking, you know, I don't need to beat myself up about making like the wrong decisions sometimes. You know, like sometimes I'll come home and I'll be really drunk and I'll just really want to eat something, you know, and I'll bang out some like frozen chips on a plate and like with like loads of mayonnaise or something, I don't know. But I feel like that you kind of feel that pressure to elevate your cooking and stuff, and that's wrong to me. I feel you shouldn't feel pressured about food. Food should be something you enjoy. So if you feel the urge, you know, like if you feel the urge, like, oh, I really want to cook this thing that I saw on Instagram, or I really want to try this, or like I have this amazing idea in my head about what I can do to make this like incredible food, then just do it. Like, you know, go with the flow, like trust your gut instincts, because 100%. That's what food's about. It's about enjoying it. It's about enjoying yourself. And so a lot of people have a really bad relationship with food. I've seen you know, I've had friends who have eating disorders and stuff, which is kind of an extreme example, but even beyond that, people just kind of, they see food as a problem, like a chore, like they either they eat too much of it and they feel like it's really bad for them and have like an addiction to it, like binge eating or something, or they don't like it, they don't like eating, it's a pain, and you know, some people, they don't like cooking, but I think it's important to try really hard to kind of like be mindful about how you're thinking about food and kind of work to make it more healthy, not just physically healthy but mentally healthy as well, because it's a great mood booster, you know. And a lot of foods, you know, things like chilies, for example, is a great example. Spicy food from chilies actually is great for your mental and physical health, because it, you know, I'm not a neuroscientist, I honestly don't know like the actual science behind it, but it sparks things in your brain and it promotes hormones in your brain that make you happy. So it's physical that affects your mental health, you know. And that's why a lot of people, they feel really great after they eat spicy food. They eat loads of spicy food, they're sweating, their mouth is burning, but they feel happy.
They feel happy.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I have to disagree with you there, man.
It's actually, we're not supposed to eat spicy food. That's why
it's spicy, yeah.
And the good thing is that your brain tries to send hormones or something like that to
ease it down.
So that's why you feel happy and you feel satisfied. Like there's a rush, like.
Wow. Yeah. I've got family members that just love spicy food, and I'm just like, why do you like this spicy food?
Into spicy, I mean, that's such
I got an auntie. I got an auntie, and like her stew or her rice or whatever she's making, like, and she has the opportunity to put some pepper, some spices. She just
shoves her Scotch bonnets in.
Oh, and things like I don't know. This thing about me now is like I hardly say no to the food. Even if I wanted to say no, I wouldn't. Because like, I'm not trying to be rude. I still want to eat the food, obviously, but like, I'm not trying to burn my mouth as well. Yeah. So I get the food. I say thank you for the food. Obviously, say your prayers, everything. I start eating the food. It's peppery as God knows what, man. I'm just there. Is the food nice? And my mouth is burning, man. I can't actually like sit down and manage to eat really spicy food. I like it as well. I like some spicy food sometimes,
but not too much.
But when you're trying to secretly burn my tongue, we got levels that we're gonna push right there. Honestly, it's crazy, man. How you can turn food. You can use, like, food can be used in so many different ways. Food can be used in so many different opportunities.
I mean,
as well.
People have different relationships with different spices. You know, some people spiciness, like that heat that you feel, it's just another flavor. You know, so I mean, I'm not like this. I can't just like take a chili and eat it and be like, oh, that's great. My mum can, and it's just, you know, it's kind of the same way that you might eat something that's really sweet or something that's really sour. You eat something that's really spicy or hot, and it's just another one of those flavors. And some people, they love spicy food in the sense of like food with spices, you know, a flavor, like complex flavor, but they can't take the heat. A great example of this. So I lived in Valencia in Spain.
Ooh.
For a month and a half. Yeah, because I did Spanish A level and I was really bad, so I decided to go there. I lived with like a little abuelita, you know, like a little old lady. Yeah, I speak Spanish, man. You don't know this?
Come on.
I feel like we've spoken about this before.
Come on. I don't know. I speak English in English.
Yeah. But so in Spain, they don't eat hot food much. Okay. So it's funny because like in the UK, if you think Spanish food, you usually think like Tex-Mex food, and then you think like patatas bravas or something, like you think something like paprika and things. You think, oh, it's gonna be spicy, and then you go to Spain and like just chili is like non-existent. Like unless you go to like an Indian restaurant or a Chinese restaurant or something. Okay. And I remember it was like this really funny moment where she'd given me, I think it was like a pizza that she'd made or something. And she was like, and if you like it spicy, here's some paprika. And I was like, oh, cool, thank you. And so I took it, and because in Spanish, they don't really say paprika, they say pimentón. Pimentón means like pepper, right? So I thought, oh, chili pepper, like hot powder, you know. And so I started sprinkling it on my food, and I started eating. I was like, I can't feel anything. So I started sprinkling more and more and more and more to get like the heat. And eventually I got there, and there was a lot of it. And she comes into the kitchen to see how I'm going, and she's like, whoa, like let me get you a glass of water. Like you put too much food, you put too much powder on your food. I'm like, no, this is fine. This is like a Buna level, you know, like an Indian house. And it's such a thing, you know. I've spoken to loads of Spanish people about it, and they just don't. It's just not culturally a part of the like food there, like the gastronomy there. Yeah. And because Spanish food isn't bland, it's not like, you know, a lot of Asians will make this joke that, you know, white food is bland because it's not spicy, you know, people can't take the flavor, like they don't season their food and things. Yeah, they don't season it, it's unseasoned.
They don't season their chicken, man.
They don't season their chicken. I know, it's salt and pepper and that's it.
The talk show that I saw, like it was a cooking show. Yeah. And this black lady, she was gonna first wash the chicken. You wash the chicken, and they were all flabbergasted. Like, yeah. You wash your chicken?
Yeah.
And I was like, of course you're.
It's because when you say to someone,
and I know that.
Yeah. Well, because I don't, because in my family we don't do it because we don't really see it, like we don't feel the need to. But I know because when you say to someone who's not coming from a culture where you wash your chicken, you say wash your chicken. What they're thinking is like take a chicken breast in your hand, run it under a tap. You know?
No, like
exactly. Yeah.
Wash the
but
chicken.
Because that's what they think when you say wash, and so obviously, you know, you can type into Google, you'd be like, should I wash my chicken? And you have like NHS and CDC saying don't do it, it's terrible, because they don't think, oh, you put it in a bowl with the limes and a vinegar and you scrub it and stuff like that, and you rinse it out and then you disinfect your sink. But the thing as well is that like in this sort of country you don't really need to, because the main thing is salmonella, right?
Yeah, I guess.
But we don't have that here anymore.
I think besides salmonella, back at home, like what my mom used to do, because what was it when I was young, like bruv, what was salmonella? I didn't know what it was. My mom, like, you get a fresh, like, it's been freshly, like,
butchered.
Yeah. It's been freshly done. and you need to wash it, obviously. You need to wash it, and we had limestone. Right. You'd wash it with limestone. Yeah. Sometimes you let it soak with that limestone, you rub the limestone on the chicken, and you clean it. You clean the insides too. You cut it and you clean the insides and everything. You've cleaned your chicken, it's ready to be seasoned and everything. That is literally washing your chicken. It's like comparing it to washing clothes. You have to put your laundry soap or your detergent or whatever, your softener, the things you put to wash your clothes. Yeah. So what you use to wash your chicken or your meat or whatever is literally the laundry soap for that food. Once my mom finished washing it, it could be in a bowl in the sink, just soaking.
Yeah.
Then she seasons everything. Once she's done washing it, she begins to steam it, fry it.
Because it tenderizes the meat as well.
Yeah, it does.
But this is the thing. So, you know, when it comes to cultures, when it comes to different cultures and stuff, like what I was saying with like white people have unseasoned food and stuff. The problem is that it's just a different way of looking at things. Because if you go to a French restaurant, if you go to a Spanish restaurant, you know, this is the thing. It's not bland. The food doesn't taste bland unless it's a bad restaurant. Okay. Spanish food tastes amazing. French food tastes amazing. English food tastes amazing sometimes. Sometimes. And it's just something I've noticed as well is that it goes both ways, because when it comes to different cultures intermingling, sometimes people just make assumptions, you know. You know, like someone who doesn't wash their chicken will assume that you wash chicken in a really bad, like unsanitary way, and someone who doesn't wash their chicken will think, oh, your chicken's dirty and stuff. But people grow up with different things. People grow up with different ingredients, different quality meats, different kind of like ways of like agriculture and stuff. Like for example, if I was in Sri Lanka, there are certain things I just would not eat that I would happily eat here. You know, because I know that in Sri Lanka the infrastructure around that ingredient or that product is like much less developed. You know, so like I wouldn't trust it, and I'd be much more like worried about like food safety and stuff than I would be here. You know, like here you can go to any restaurant unless it's like, I don't know, it's quite rare to go to a restaurant here and think, oh, this is really dodgy. You know, like I'm gonna like get massive food poisoning from this. Whereas in Sri Lanka, like you just have to be careful with it. And so that's like an example of just, you just kind of have to be open-minded. You just have to, like, everywhere you go, everyone you speak to, every different culture, every kitchen that you step into, you have to be ready to like learn about something else. And that's why, you know, like I can talk about jollof, I can talk about a goosey, I can talk about like a mala or whatever.
Have you cooked jollof?
I've cooked it once.
How was
it was okay. It wasn't spicy enough. Because I kind of pussied out of using Scotch bonnets, because it was this Rwandan woman that I follow called Sherry Silver, and she's amazing. She's a dancer, she's a choreographer, and like she just got like such good energy, and she does these Instagram videos called Dance and Cook. And she plays some like Afrobeats music, and she's doing like the dancing. She's like Gwara Gwara or Shaku Shaku, you know. Huh?
Do you dance and cook?
When I'm drunk, you know. But and there's not in front of a camera.
I have to know.
You dance and cook?
Bob Marley.
I mean I listen to music. I listen to music when I'm doing anything. I listen to music when I'm doing work. I listen to music when I'm cooking. Listen to music when I'm taking off flipping shower. So like,
I mean, I love music, and like if I'm alone, I'll dance. Sometimes I'll dance. Basically, it's like comfort, you know. But I won't dance like you see me dancing in the clubs and stuff like that. I won't do that unless I'm alcohol fueled. But Sherry Silver, she does these videos, and like it's just so infectious, and like you watch her doing it and you just want to be there doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like you just want to be cooking that, you want to be doing it. So I was doing it, but I saw she put Scotch bonnets in like you know that you do the I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a base stew or something that you make, and then you use that sauce for the stew and you use it for the rice as well. And like tomatoes and everything like that. And she put Scotch bonnet in there. I was like, I'm not putting a Scotch bonnet in there, so I didn't, and it felt like a little bit bland, you know. So I think next time I cook jollof, I'm gonna do it, because I've had jollof from like Nigerians. I've had it from I had a Senegalese friend in high school, and she made me jollof as well. Her mum made me jollof, and that was amazing as well.
So you've had Nigerian jollof, or
I've had Nigerian jollof. I've had Senegalese jollof.
Or just those two?
Well, technically, I've had Rwandan jollof as well, but it was without a Scotch bonnet.
Which one's better?
Which one's better? I'm not saying. I know too many West Africans to say this on camera.
Do not.
I just realized Fufu is the African tofu.
Is it? Fufu's like yam, right?
It's like a thingy, like squish thingy.
No, it's not.
Yeah, Fufu's like the boiled yam that's like stirred up.
I know Fufu, obviously.
Yeah.
I know Fufu.
Yeah. It's like the African
Fufu, the African
tofu. But you don't really you wouldn't like take fufu and like fry it or something, would you? It's not like an ingredient. You eat fufu as a side dish, don't you? Like
no. Fufu isn't a side dish. Fufu is like literally part of the main dish. Like you have fufu and maybe like a stew or soup.
Yeah.
You get it like, and you pick it up with the stew. You dip it in the stew, obviously, and you eat it.
But you wouldn't use it like you would tofu. Like you wouldn't find like fufu scramble or something.
No.
Yeah.
It's like the same idea with.
True. Yeah,
noodles,
yeah.
Because
you take the soybeans and you.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, this is one thing. I don't know if it's a tangent or not, but something I noticed only actually when I come to university.
Yeah.
Because I come from like a very white area. Like, I didn't know that many multicultural people except for when I went traveling.
Okay.
And so I met so many people, and I made a friend, Rebecca. Hi,
Yeah.
Rebecca. She's Ethiopian, or she's got Ethiopian roots, and we were talking about food and stuff. And she told me about injera bread. Do you know?
No.
It's basically this massive flatbread, and you put it on like
Do you know it?
you put it on like a big plate, and then you have all of the little curries and stuff. Yeah, because Ethiopian food they use a lot. They do a lot of vegan food as well, don't they?
That's the alka. That's they use teff.
Yeah, teff. Yeah. And and then you just kind of tear it off and eat it. You know.
Alright.
So stretchy and
Yeah, but she was telling me about it. I was like googling it stuff. I was looking at it, and it looked a lot like dosa. In South India, they eat what's called dosa, and then in the north of Sri Lanka, the Tamils, they call it dosai.
Okay.
And it's the same thing, basically, slightly different, you know. Indians like crispier, but I kind of thought about it, and I was like, why would that be? And I kind of looked into it, 'cause I was just like googling things, you know.
It's that curiosity, man. Like,
Huh?
it's that curiosity.
Yeah, it's
you have with
curiosity,
food,
yeah.
man. Like,
I just
there.
see something and I want to make the connection between them, you know. I want to know what it is. And I looked into it, and it's basically just because there's loads of Indians went to Africa, and a lot of African traders went to Sri Lanka, because literally it's just water between them. So if you're in Ethiopia, Eritrea, if you're in like Kenya or something, and you get on a boat and you just sail east, then you'll hit India or you'll hit Sri Lanka, you know. So you'll go there and then you'll eat the food, then you'll bring it back home, and vice versa. And so like
Geography.
you can go to like a Caribbean restaurant now and get like chapati, and that's like an Indian thing, you know. Or I don't know if it's Jamaican that ended up in India or vice versa.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. But and so it's really interesting to me seeing that kind of like connection between like foods and different like the ways different things mix, and like people groups moved a lot because of
different cultural backgrounds.
Yeah, and like I mean a lot of it has quite a dark background because of colonization. You know, there's a massive Indian diaspora in Africa. South Africa, East Africa, somewhat West Africa, but less so, because the British Empire basically went to India, destroyed it, and forced Indians to go into indentured servitude in Africa. And that's why Gandhi was in South Africa. You know, Gandhi was like dealing with apartheid and everything. That's why he was there, because it was the same sort of idea. And so when you go to South Africa now, you'll find a lot of Indian people, and you'll see a lot of Indian food, and you'll see like influences of Indian gastronomy on South African gastronomy, and in Ethiopia or across like East Africa. And it's because of colonization. I mean, take Jamaican food. You know, a lot of Jamaican food like jerk chicken and stuff was developed in the hills because it was a way of cooking food, smoking food without creating a big fire that would then signal like the slavers who would try and like track down the runaway slaves. And you know, it's such a dark history to think about, you know, like how desperate someone has to be to like develop a whole new way of cooking, just to survive and not be like captured. But in a way, food kind of connects you to that culture as a way of respecting it. And you know, there are things about cultural appropriation where, you know, you have like, I don't know, jerked tofu, and it's just like a bit of paprika and like oil or something. You know, people just doing it so that they can use a Jamaican brand. But I feel like it's really important to kind of educate yourself and also other people on the background of food, because culture is important. Culture is history.
100%.
If you're respecting someone's culture, if you're respecting someone's history, if you're respecting someone's food, then you're respecting them. And the same goes for disrespect. You know, and I think in a way, you know, there's a potential to be negative with it. You know, you can talk about the destruction of culture because people don't appreciate things, but at the same time, there's a real appreciation. It can really connect people. You know, people may get like disagree with each other. People may fight each other. They might hate each other even if they're racist or something like that. Even in Sri Lanka, like there's so much intercommunal conflict between like the different ethnicities. It goes back decades, centuries, you know. But people are united by food, because at the end of the day, regardless of what color you are, where you're from, where your family's from, what language you speak, if you eat something and it tastes good, you're going to enjoy it and you're going to want to keep eating it. You're not going to think, oh my god, like a Tamil made this, like I hate it because I don't like Tamils. It's ridiculous. You're just going to enjoy it.
True. And
then that's a way into the culture. And so that's why I care a lot about like ethnic foods, because I find it super interesting. I mean, I learned a lot about Nigerian culture, Igbo culture, Yoruba culture, Hausa culture through my interest in Nigerian food. You know, I've got a friend who's, I think she's half Yoruba. Do you know Wonu? Wonu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we've had Wonu on
He
the
doesn't
podcast,
know Wonu.
man.
Yeah.
Come on.
But you know, she told me a lot about like Igbo culture. you know, and like the food and stuff that she enjoys eating and stuff. Like I'll send her a video that I see on Instagram. I'll be like, hey, what does this look like? Should I try and make this one? Like, does it look authentic? And she'll be like, nah, that's it. Like, find another one, you know. And I love it because I just love learning about other people's cultures. I love learning about other ways. It's a way of showing my respect. It's a way of showing my appreciation. And obviously I get some amazing food out of it as well. So nothing but benefits.
That's mad. Right, now we went from proper curiosity to proper deep, and now we're back.
Passion.
But really, like, yeah, when you talk about like food, like, would you have like a favorite? Like, out of all the food you've made, do you think there's a favorite or a top 5, or like what's been your most interesting dish to prepare?
So difficult. I mean, so the food I make the most often is probably dal. You know what dal is?
No.
It's like we've been through this. Lentils.
Oh, yeah, the lentils. Okay, yeah.
So lentils. It's like a lentil curry, basically. Mm-hmm. Basically, everyone in South Asia has a different way of making it. Sri Lankans make it different to Pakistanis, Indians, Bangladeshis. And then between them as well, they have their different ways of making it. I make it the Sri Lankan way because it's the best way. I'm biased, but it's true.
No worries.
And but I love making it because it's so easy and it will feed a crowd and it's super cheap.
Okay.
But if I had to choose like a favorite cuisine, it's really difficult, you know, because I just enjoy food that tastes good. I can go to like a Thai restaurant or something, have like incredibly flavorful, amazing food and be like, this is incredible, I love it so much.
Yeah.
Or I can go to like an Arab restaurant. You know, like I spent some time in Abu Dhabi, and Arab food, it's like, it tastes amazing, but it's not as much about complexity, if you know what I mean. Like, if you go to an Indian or Sri Lankan kitchen, they'll be like throwing like 50 million spices and little ingredients here, and they'll cook this and they'll cook this differently, and they'll mix it together and stuff. Arab food, like, you'll eat it and you'll just really appreciate, like, you'll eat some chicken or something and you'll really appreciate the flavor of the chicken because it's cooked really nicely. Yeah, no. You'll have like a shawarma wrap and it'll taste like incredible. Okay. You know shawarma.
Yeah, I know shawarma. Yeah.
And so like when I was in Abu Dhabi, I kind of just became really obsessed with like every time I'd go anywhere to like an Emirati or an Arab restaurant, because there's a lot of like international restaurants there as well, because there's a lot of expats. But if I went to like an Arab restaurant there, I would just only look at the grill section of the menu because I just wanted to eat their seafood. I just wanted to eat that meat. You know, I just wanted to eat like the hummus and the mutabal and everything.
Huh?
Hummus, you know hummus?
No, you said it really quickly. I thought you were speaking a different language.
Yeah. So hummus and then mutabal is basically the same as hummus but with aubergine. You know,
I love it.
Yeah, it's so good. You make it?
Yeah, but I make it with the original, like the small eggplant.
Yeah, like brinjal.
The white eggplant.
Oh,
original.
Right.
Nigerians call them garden eggs.
Oh, garden eggs. Yeah,
garden
eggs. Yeah.
That's why they call it eggplant.
Yeah.
It looked like an egg.
Yeah, exactly.
Back at home,
Americans.
garden eggs. The garden eggs are green.
Really?
Yeah, we have some green garden eggs.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe some of the ones you've seen are white.
Yeah. See,
white with some green lines.
I had this moment because so I've got a bunch of friends who honestly I don't even know. They've got like African roots, but I think some are like Ugandan, some are like Nigerian and everything. And I saw this recipe online, and I think it was for like egusi.
Egusi.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the recipe it said 3 garden eggs, and I thought, what the hell is that? And
Garden eggs.
I was like, garden eggs? Like eggs from a garden? Like, do they need to be free range or something? So I asked them, I was like, do you know what this is? And they were like, no. And so I Googled it and I just saw these like little white things. So I was like, what the hell is that? And I kept looking. Eventually I figured out it was just like a tiny aubergine.
Oh, okay.
But because like, I don't know, like the aubergines we get, they're like long, but they're like little balls essentially, like kind of, they look like eggs.
I actually have
one. You have one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so yeah.
No, I mean, I've never really like sat down to discuss like food like this before, man. So I'm just listening and learning right now, man. It's a proper conversation that I like. But what I don't like is when it's time for me to now bring up something to talk about and I have nothing else to like literally say to combat. Yes, I do. No, not as much as you, but yeah, I cook from time to time.
What do you like to cook then?
What do I like to cook? Anything that. Well, I don't like stress in the kitchen. You know, like you always have like one way or the other there is stress.
Especially like when you're so tired.
Yeah, you just want to do something really quick.
Things like that, yeah.
But normally I just cook like some little dishes. Like I can do like rice and like stew like with the tomatoes and stuff. I can make a proper stew. I'm still learning how to make like really nice jollof rice.
Okay.
But let's just say the jollof that I make is something that only I can eat. So I got that jollof rice. I want to learn how to make soup. Like I don't eat egusi a lot, but we have this one called okra. Some people call it okra.
Yeah, okra. Yeah, I know okra.
We have that one. I like that. I like okra soup. And then if you've ever heard like eba, like
eba, yeah.
There's eba. Or some people call it gari. Sometimes it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So really, I can do the little things. I can fry some plantain, fry some yam.
Do you mainly eat like Nigerian food?
Most times, yeah. I think when I came, now that's a funny story. When I came down to Reading for my foundation, I didn't know how to cook really well. I obviously like in high school I was learning food and nutrition, so I could cook to a point.
Yeah.
I could cook to a point. But when I got to Reading, obviously, we had this Tesco next to my accommodation, Crown House. The Tesco.
Yeah, I know. I lived in Kendrick last year, so.
So Tesco at Crown House, and I was running late for class.
Right.
I needed to get something to eat. I didn't have time to make a sandwich for myself, so I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll buy a sandwich from Tesco." I see spare sandwiches there all the time. So I'm looking and I'm seeing egg in this. I'm seeing like pastrami in this. Yeah. I'm like, fam, just give me a sandwich with maybe chicken or whatever, cheese or something. I don't even like cheese right now, man. Like,
you just want something basic,
just something normal, like, because back at home, like primary school, your mom would maybe put like some jam, whatever, the normal things in there. But I'm seeing like bare salads and stuff. I'm like, relish. You know what? Yeah, I just starve. I go to class. Now I'm bare hungry. Yeah. That's the thing. It wasn't like a big, to me I was just like, I don't want to really eat that. I'm not really into that kind of thing, and I did not really bother myself too much. So I was just doing what I saw fit, doing what I wanted to do, like in terms of food. Like if I really wanted to cook, I had to find, me and my mom, we had to find an African shop, or even like a shop that sold the ingredients we were looking for.
Because it's different, isn't it? You use, like, that's the thing about African food. If you want to cook Asian food, if you want to cook European food, American food, whatever, like, it's fairly easy to find like at least the recipes. But African food, like, you need to go to an African shop and get like the vegetables and the fruit and the tin.
There's one on Oxford, not too far from Christchurch Road, Freddy's.
Oh really? Mm-hmm. Okay, because I know I'm pretty sure there's one or two on like Oxford Road as well, aren't there?
Yeah, but Oxford Road's far.
Yeah, and it's
Oxford Road is far. That's why Freddy's is an Afro-Caribbean one. Has all the things you need.
I'll have to check that out.
You should check it out.
What road is it on?
Like once you pass Christchurch Road, you're going to see an Indian place of worship, I think. Once you see there's a roundabout as well, and you'll be going down to Crown Street.
Oh, I know the road.
I'm not explaining it well, but yeah.
There's a restaurant there called
Freddy's.
Yeah, there's a restaurant there called Vel, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah. So Vel do amazing South Indian food, and they serve a thing called kottu. It's Kottu. Kottu. Yeah. Kottu. And it's, in Sri Lanka we call it kottu roti. And you know roti, like the bread, roti.
Okay.
So it's roti or paratha, which is sliced up like leftover bread, and they slice it up into like little strips, and then they fry it in a massive pan, like a big saucepan, or on like a big metal surface, with like curries, so like leftover chicken curry, vegetable curries, sauce from there, loads of spices, loads of chili. You can have chicken, you can have cheese, you can have fish. They do one called dolphin. It's not dolphin. Sri Lankans don't eat dolphins. We're not like that.
Okay.
But it's basically just like super spicy. So I would avoid it because it's very difficult to eat unless you're like well versed in Sri Lankan kottu.
I'm not versed in anything spicy.
Every Sri Lankan knows or should know kottu because it's like, I think I read somewhere it's like the hamburger of Sri Lanka. Like going to Sri Lanka and not eating kottu is like going to America and not eating a cheeseburger. You know what I mean? Like you need to eat the kottu. So if you're there and you go to Vel, get some kottu and you can thank me later because it tastes amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's mad. Fam, in terms of like drunk experiences, that's what you've had lots of drunk experiences.
Yeah, a couple.
Coming back from a night out, what's your go-to meal?
Okay. So, I mean, it depends. sometimes if I know I'm going to be going like hard, especially last year when I was going to clubs and stuff, then I might like make something up that I can eat later. You know, like
or like pre-preparations, you just prep something
yeah,
up.
kind of. I mean, sometimes I remember once I went like I really just went for it because I was just in the mood, and I cooked like I roasted like a whole chicken. I cut it up into, yeah, man, and then I cut it up into like little bits. So I had like bones for stock, and I put that in the freezer, and then I had like the breasts, and I sliced up the breast, and I put it to one side, and I cooked some pasta and put it to the other side. So when I came back, I could just eat the chicken with the pasta, and it was like amazing.
That's an A+.
I was so happy with myself. I was so gassed. I was like, Charlie, I love you.
That's an A+ for you, man. Like you should just hear what I did.
I mean, I'm not always like that. Just to say,
yeah,
like,
but that's like
it's usually
that's
like
enough.
a McDonald's or something.
Yeah, but that's enough.
Cooking when you're drunk.
I know, but look what I did. This was like I cooked after a hangover. Like my dad was in town here, and I needed to go see my dad at the hotel.
So you
was
needed to
late.
sober up. Yeah.
So like I obviously needed to sober up. There was no stew. Like the stew we had in the fridge had finished.
Right.
So I was going to make I was already making spaghetti. I put some spaghetti on. I was like, oh yeah, I'll make some spaghetti and stuff. I made the spaghetti, bomb spaghetti. I make some really good spaghetti.
Lovely.
But here's the catch: there was no stew.
Right.
No stew. I ate the flipping spaghetti with no stew.
You just ate the spaghetti.
I just ate spaghetti
on its
with
own.
no stew. And the thing is that it wasn't enough.
Right.
But I was walking down to the hotel. I took a train, got to the train station, and I walked down to Caversham to go meet my dad.
Yeah.
And mind you, man's still kind of hungover just a little bit. With just
it's a little bit intoxicated still.
15 minutes away from eating like some bare dry spaghetti. And I see my dad, I greet my dad, and he looks at me, he's like, you sure you're right? I was like, oh, yeah, I'm fine.
Alcohol? I don't know.
What did you eat? I was like, spaghetti. And he just laughs it off. I'm just like, no, man, like if I'm drunk or like I'm hungover, I can't cook to save my life. I can't cook a proper meal to save my life. Cooking is not like it's hard. It's hard. It's not a big part of my life though. Like I do enjoy eating food. I enjoy the eating aspect of the food. But being in the kitchen for like almost an hour cooking food can be stressful.
See, for me, the thing about me is I'm really bad at preparing. Like that chicken and pasta thing, that was a fluke. Like usually what happens is I'll be in my room. I'm a law student, right? So I'm like always reading and studying, or like I should be. Either I'm reading or studying, or I'm like beating myself up. I'm not reading and studying. And then I'll just be like, oh my God, I'm really hungry. So I'll go downstairs and I think, what can I cook? And so I'll start cooking, but then I'll be hungry cooking. And so I rarely will just stand there and cook and then wait for the food to be ready, and then I'll eat. Usually I'm cooking and I'm eating, you know, like I'll be cutting an onion or something, and I'll like eat a bit of onion, or like I'll cook like sometimes if I'm cooking like meat, then I'll take like a little piece of meat and I'll like cook it really quickly and then eat that while I'm cooking the rest of the meat, you know.
You know those
the
ones.
hacks, the life hacks, yeah. But you know, so for me, like cooking can be like an activity, like it's something that you're doing, but you're doing other things at the same time. I might have like you know, sometimes you have to just read like a really long article. You've got like 50 pages of like a book to read or something, and so I'll just have that on my phone. I'll be like reading like chapter. Okay, flip the food or something, you know. Or more likely, I'll just be watching Netflix. But that's the thing, like, and it changes as well. You know, sometimes I'll just think I'll get something out of the freezer, like a pizza or like a piece of like breaded fish or something. You know, I'll put it in the oven, forget about it, put a timer on, and go and do something else.
Right.
Or sometimes, which I prefer, is I'll cook on a hob, right? So I'll have like 2 pounds on a hob, and I'll just be stirring things and adding things, and I'll think, oh, I just want to add this to it, so I'll just chuck it in. It took me a really long time to get used to recipes. Growing up, we never, like my mum, I don't think I've ever seen my mum actually touch a cookbook. She gave me a cooking book. It's this beautiful like Chinese cooking book, like authentic Chinese food. It's gorgeous. I'm not just being weird, like it looks really nice. And I like, what I'll do is I'll read through it for inspiration, and then I'll close it, put it away, and then I'll go and cook. You know, I won't. She would never stand there flicking through pages, be like step 1, step 2, step 3.
Okay.
I could never do that either, because you just feel restricted. You know, you feel like I don't want to do that. I want to put this in. You know, and so you kind of go with the flow, and that's a very Sri Lankan way of cooking as well. Yeah. I feel like Asians in general. I don't know if it's the same for like West Africans, but
I wouldn't know, man.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, you have to like text your mum or something and be like, Mum, how do you?
I already told my mom. Like, I told her like send me some ingredients, like how to make a stew, jollof rice. We have coconut rice.
Yeah,
lovely.
Coconut rice is so good.
She's slacking right now because she hasn't sent it.
She's slacking.
Yeah, you slacking.
How's she gonna feel when she hears you say she's slacking? But Leo,
I'm done out here, bro.
yeah.
But no, really, like I love cooking. I love looking at the whole process and everything. Do you see yourself like? Imagine if you could have like a cooking channel, like a cooking show.
I get this a lot.
Do you think that'd be doable?
See, I've got friends who get really. So you see, like I love Snapchatting, like when I'm cooking. I've got a few friends who are like, "Why don't you just start an Instagram, like a cooking Instagram?" And I did for like 2 days.
Oof.
A year or so ago, and I hated it because it's like I don't like the rigidity of it. Like I feel like if I'm gonna do it, then I put a post up and then I put like the whole recipe. I'm like, this is how you do this, and this is how you do that, this is how you do that. And like I just hated doing it because I just felt like this is just really boring. You know, like I'll cook on the fly, like I'm spontaneous with it. You know, I'll just feel like what's good. And sometimes something strange will come out. Like I don't know, like I'll just do weird like flavor combinations or something. But sometimes I don't, and so I prefer to just go with the flow. And I love cooking channels. Like I follow a lot of food Instagrams. There's loads of different ones. I can recommend them to you later or something. And I'll send them through. I love it. I love looking at it. I love like the food photography. I love the recipes. I love seeing what different people do in different parts of the world, you know. And I love YouTube videos. I follow loads of YouTube channels. But I couldn't do that. You know, I could sit in front of a camera and cook. Fine. And I'd enjoy it, but I couldn't do the whole rigidity of a channel. I couldn't do the whole like recipe testing and you know, like this is what you can substitute this for and stuff like that. Like I just don't care enough about that. Process. Yeah, like the whole like formalized. It's too formal for me.
Oh,
I'm quite an informal cook.
I understand.
I'm a very informal cook. You know, like I like authenticity. Like food and stuff, like I would love to like cook something the authentic way. Like if I'm doing a carbonara, I won't add cream to it, I'll do it with the eggs, you know. But I don't like the kind of rigid structure or anything like that. I just don't vibe with it, you know. I'm a very vibey cook. I go with the flow.
Man's with the vibes, moving with the flow.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? That's all we have. That's all the time we have for today. It's been, man's like, okay.
It's been great.
It's been a lovely conversation with you, Charlie. Thanks for being
fantastic,
on the podcast, obviously.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome, man. Now, see, now, you've been added to the family.
Yeah.
Welcome to the AfroCast family.
Much,
everything we're doing.
Yeah, and let me just say as well, like I feel I was really happy when you like asked me to come on because I mean I kind of just begged you to let me come on basically.
You did it. You did. It's the other way around. Don't listen to this guy, man. Like literally, I came down to man's yard. It was raining. I was like, please, bro, I need someone on my podcast. Please come down. I didn't say that. I just asked you to be on the podcast, man. I just asked you to come down. Would you like to be on the podcast next? And it was literally last week. But I really appreciate like what you're doing. I feel like it's really cool. I mean, you're a film and theatre student, fine, but also I feel like the whole idea behind AfroCast, you know, like kind of amplifying black voices and stuff like that, I feel like it's really important, and like I appreciate the fact that you kind of offered for me to come on and stuff like that. No, man, real recognized. Thank you very much. No worries, man. This has been AfroCast. You guys know what it is. If you enjoyed this video, there's gonna be more episodes coming in the following weeks. Make sure you like, subscribe. Charlie's Instagram is gonna be in the description below. Give him a follow. Man's vibing. Be part of his stories. You never know, man. He might find you somewhere. I don't know. Man does his thing. Well, like I said, this has been AfroCast. God bless. We love you. Safe.